Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Bishwajit Ghosh, Professor of Sociology from the University of Bardhaman. I am also the coordinator of the paper called Social Movement and also the joint writer of this module called Social Movement Unionism. Now, the objective of this module is to introduce you to the issues and challenges of a new type of unionism, which we call Social Movement Unionism, with particular reference to India. Now, drawing from several primary and secondary sources, we will be focusing on the way this kind of activism is succeeding in a country like India and also in other parts of the world, the way it has become an alternative. Let me now talk about the context in which this type of unionism has become a reality now. With the advent of neoliberal economy in the latter half of the last century, across the world, the issues of the collective mobilization cutting across class and community has changed qualitatively. Now, the major reason for this is the rise of new sets of antagonism that are quite different from the old sites of production. So, the way new social movement or social unionism, in short, they have appeared as a kind of alternative to the old type of pluralistic or Marxist trade unionism is a remarkable kind of progress so far as labor movement is concerned. Now, unlike business or political unionism of the old variety, this kind of unionism, they pick up new issues, talk in a new language and develop friendship across class and community. So, obviously, there has been wider unity across peasants, middle class, workers, intellectuals, gender activists and so on and so forth, and they are making their presence at the global level. Let me now talk about the need for social unionism. Globalization poses certain challenges to the old types of trade unionism. In fact, we have recognized by now there has been downshading of the formal or organized sector, and the people who were earlier the four walls of trade union movement, that is the organized sector workers, they are no more today. In India, they constitute only 5 to 7% of the total workers. That means 95 to 96% of the workers are in the informal and so-called unorganized sectors. Secondly, there is difficulty in monitoring, regulating and governing the complex economy which has become a reality after globalization. Thirdly, the new practice of human resource management, in short HRM, often it is called strategic human resource management. It is difficult for the workers to cope up with the new kind of managerial practices that these types of management offers. There is also increase in the rise of unorganized workers, contractual workers and part-time workers. So, the way the types of sites of antagonism has changed and the way the new kinds of workers have emerged, obviously new social movement and new kind of unionism is the only way through which probably workers can fight. Now, new social movement is also a new approach to the way workers and other marginalized people should fight. New approach in the sense that it is a better approach, an effective approach, an organizing strategy of workers, employees and all community groups. Now, the concept was first applied in late 80s and 1990s, early 1990s in countries like South Africa and Philippines, that allied with community groups to launch movement against the authoritarian states. The 5 most important characteristics of such movement is that they are number 1 democratic, number 2 often they are very militant, number 3 they are independent from any political party, number 4 they are reaching out to the others, that means those who are not workers, and number 5 they fight for all oppressed kind of personality. That means it is a kind of new kind of unionism which tries to combine strategies of NGO and trade unionism in order to reach their success. Interestingly, these trade unions use the social and cultural capital for organizing, which is a new beginning in the history of movement of marginalized people, including workers. They also have new agenda, for instance, democracy, human rights, social justice, which actually have inspired many kinds of workers and other actors, for instance, NGOs. This explains the popularity of social movement unionism in the West, because the nature of work under the post-Fordist regime has changed. Obviously, you would agree with me that the normal simple capitalistic versus workers resistance model cannot be applicable in the contemporary context, because there is no worker, because there is no capitalist. You cannot see the capitalist. Many of the workers are contractual workers, they are not direct workers, and many of the employers are in fact third party contractors, subcontractors. So, given such a situation, unions have to break their artificial barriers and grow across communities in order to build up new kind of affiliation and support. Obviously, new social movement calls for a kind of new orientation on the part of old trade unions, because they argue in different forms, they argue in different voices, even though they argue for one common goal of changing the entire society. That means new forms of unionism might differ in patterns and forms, but the spirit is the same. One interesting distinction that we must make is between social unionism and social partnership unionism, which has become very popular in Germany. Social partnership unionism means you are partnering with the capital, with the capitalist. This is not social movement unionism. This is completely different from the spirit of new social movement. Now, obviously, the new social movement offers plenty of opportunities to unions, NGOs and other activists. The experience of social unionism proved that trade unions are able to reinvent new strategies to challenge their irrelevance. Just like capitalism is able to adapt itself in new situation, the new unions are able to adapt themselves with new strategies of fight. That means they are equally capable of mutation and transformation and regeneration. This is something new, and it goes against the argument of end of work thesis, and the thesis that trade unions are no more. A new kind of unions have taken place, the old kinds of unions, because there is a proliferation of proletariat across countries and across spaces. Now, if you look into the history of social movement unionism in India, interestingly you would see that the number of workers who are organized under trade unions have increased largely during the last few years. I may give you certain statistics. For instance, the aggregate membership of all central trade unions has increased from 12.2 millions in 1989 to 89.5 millions in 2012. Interestingly, this is Government of India figure. This is not figure that Professor Bishwajit Ghosh has manufactured. So obviously, there could be many more who could not register to the Government of India figure. More importantly, the verified membership of 5 central major trade unions have increased spontaneously. For instance, it has gone up from 9.1 million in 1996 to 79.4 million in 2012. Now, obviously, there are new bodies like Self-Employed Women's Association, Labour Progressive Front, All India Central Council of Trade Unions. They have been added to the Central Trade Union Council because they have crossed the mandatory 5 lakh membership category. If you look into the average membership per trade union, that has also increased from 747 in 2000 to 1919 in 2012. Now, this enormous increase in membership is because of organizing the unorganized workers, which is the major agenda for new union. Interestingly, some of the new unions that have come up, they are independent. They are not assigned or related to political parties. They are established unions like CTU, AITUC, INTUC. For instance, the new Trade Union Initiative, NTUI, or National Center for Labour, they have crossed 5 lakh membership category. That means they have become central trade unions. There are also global unions who have formed federation to fight for many types of marginalized workers in a country like India. Now, if you look into the types of struggles that they offer, they often join hands, and that may be called as joint struggles to fight against common issues. For instance, issues related to pollution, issues related to sanitation, issues related to livelihood, all these common issues faced by workers and people at large, they have become the agenda. So as a result, when the trade union argue for the general issues of crowding in the street and pollution and price rise and so on and so forth, they become a public agenda for public scrutiny. Interestingly, there have been countless stories of joint struggle and joint strike in a country like India. Obviously, trade unions have understood the limits and they are going for joint movement. Now, this is called new forms of resistance in South Asia. That means we may categorize the social movement unionism as a kind of new rise in social trade unionism history, and Emmanuel Ness has argued that the strength of industrial working class has rather increased and not that they have disappeared. So, the bonds of solidarity that one could see across say Africa and Asia that these unions have formed is mind boggling, the way the powerful strength they have developed. So, this in fact calls for a qualitative change in the way impoverished people fight for their rights. Emmanuel Ness has particularly referred to the case of Suzuki auto plant at Gurgaon near Delhi. It's really placed in Haryana, where multinational capital strategy of splitting the working class has failed. Despite so much of pressure from the state government with police and military help, the so-called powerful multinational could not break the unity. The Suzuki workers also did not take help from like AITUC and CTU and INTUC. They all went there to support them, but they said, look, we can fight on our own. They fought on their own and they have established a very sound strength of workers' unity. On the basis of this, based on such successful struggle, I would call them success because of the fact that established trade unions now are arguing for greater unity of workers. They are arguing for organizing the informal sector workers, and they are arguing for general unity through which a much larger workers' unity could be achieved. Now, many of the proto-unions or community unions, interestingly, they are avoiding any direct confrontation of the employers. One of the reasons is that employers are in most cases subcontractors. They are rather taking up developmental and welfare activities like health, housing, education for the workers, water, sanitation, credit card issue of the workers. This is an interesting turn in the history of trade unionism because most of this work was basically done by NGOs. Now, the combination of NGO and trade union mode is probably providing a sustenance to this. Now, if you look into the types of unions who are working it, Sheba in Ahmedabad or Working Women's Forum in Chennai, Karnataka Kaligari Nivas Sangathan in Karnataka, these are the new unions which are providing leadership so far as organizing the informal sector workers are concerned. Let me now briefly talk about the Sheba experience. It was an NGO initially, but then a trade union and then NGO combined. It argued for full employment of its workers, poor women workers who are vendors who sell sabjis and fish and other vegetables in Mumbai. It argued for work security, income security, food security and social security. Gradually, it could open its bank, provide financial benefit to all its members and could develop nationwide and international alliances with all forces fighting for the marginalized. If you look into the instance of Karnataka Kaligari Nivasa Sangathan, which is a trade union of waste pickers formed as a result of networking and close collaboration between different organizations, committed individuals and waste pickers themselves. Now, it tries for a single demand. Most important demand is give us recognition and respect. They also argue for socio-economic benefits of its members. They have open credit cooperative, group insurance, self-help group. They also take up educational activities for its members. So, this is an instance of the way new kind of union can fight for the marginalized. Let me talk about some more examples. The case of Karnataka Rajya Sahayata Sangha is important. It is an organization of impoverished farmers. It was formed by Nanjundaswamy of KRSS. It tried to mobilize the farmers in order to show the Europeans the way MNCs are exploiting them. So, it is arguing that these MNCs are anti-people, these MNCs are anti-environment, so do not buy any product from them. So, look, the way an organization is arguing to the Europeans, the way their MNCs are working at India. Similarly, the National Fish Workers Forum, they are raising issue of water, protect life. So, raising greater issue is probably one of the major agenda of many of the marginalized people. Interestingly, the first trade union which raised the issue of social issue in India was Shankar Gohan Yogi's Chhattisgarh Mines Shramik Union. It argued against liquor consumption, argued for good health of the workers. It carried out literacy campaign, better environment. Now these are some of the issues. It opened schools and hospitals. There were some of the issues which made Shankar Gohan Yogi's union very powerful among the Tendu leaf suppliers of Chhattisgarh. Obviously, such union becomes so powerful that the Tendu leaf supplier had to kill Shankar Gohan Yogi. The point I am making is that the new strategies of organizing is very powerful because they argue for new issues. For instance, ban liquor, literate us, give us sanitation facilities, give us health facilities. So these are some of the issues which are not being raised, and these are the issues of the marginalized. On the other hand, by raising such issue, environmental issue, health issue, human rights issue, you can involve the people and you can go for general strikes. So this is, I believe, a new beginning in the history of working class struggle in India. Many of the non-work and managerial issues picked up by these unions are interesting. For instance, they do not work like authoritarian party-based unions. They are not dictated by what party leaders say. They pick up issue as and when they become important to the people. So obviously, even though the journey of the trade unions appeared to be long and arduous, but the new beginning probably would take us to a place where we will be able to fight for a better life of the marginalized people, including those who are working in the industries in India. Even though trade unions, established trade unions have failed in India so far, we should not write off their potential, because as N.R. Sheth has argued that the argument for unionism has become much greater today because of the failure of the capitalist globalization process to protect the interest of marginalized workers, including other sections of masses. So therefore, the important role of the trade unions, including social movement unions, to safeguard the interest of people, common people at large, have become much more greater than probably it was felt a few years back. Now, social movement unionism, to conclude, has become a very viable option in a new economy, and therefore it has become very powerful weapon in the hands of the marginalized in Europe, in America, in Latin America, and also in Africa and Asia. So the new strategy of organizing, despite so much of complexes and challenges, one must recognize that it is not easy to organize workers across countries and spaces, because there is a financial issue, there is communication issue, there is literacy issue, there is a leadership issue, so on and so forth. But despite these challenges and complexities, it could bring to the fore the ill effects of neoliberal globalization, particularly on the workers and marginalized communities. This is the most successful effect of social movement unionism. You need not talk about the failures of globalization. Everyone and a common man on the street understands that globalization has failed to protect the rights of a common man. So even if the trade unions haven't succeeded in achieving any perceptible changes, so far as the working relations are concerned, the direction is on the right way, and we believe the new kind of unions would be able to foster in a new kind of foster in more light. So let me summarize the whole argument again. There has been a new beginning in the history of working class movement across countries. We call it new social movement or new unionism. It is a new unionism in the sense that it differs from the old style of unionism. The agenda is different, leadership is different, the process of organizing is different. So it is able to organize much larger level of workers and marginalized people across region, across industry, across geographical boundary. It is also possible to form union across spaces. For instance, global union of fisheries workers, fighting for right to work, right to water, like the way water is being polluted by global agencies. So these are something new beginning in the history of working class movement across the world. Even though in India they haven't succeeded much in protesting against the global forces of capital, but the new beginning is a welcome address, is a welcome one. New beginning would only show the further way in which it would progress in days to come. So probably we are hoping much more on the progress of such union, and we are expecting the old trade unions also to follow the same path, so that a new kind of beginning becomes a reality in a country like India. Now, why I am saying so, in India, in a country like India, where a large number of people are being marginalized or are becoming vulnerable, particularly due to the forces of neoliberal policies, they need to be protected, their rights need to be safeguarded. Now, how would a person living in the slums would do so? Obviously, they need the support of intellectuals, NGOs and others, global forces who are literate, who are in a position to throw their issues to the larger level of, say, municipality, government and other forces. So obviously, if you are able to show that a particular municipality is not catering to the needs, basic need, for instance, sanitation need of a particular community worker, or if you are able to show that a particular industry is violating environmental laws, or if you are able to show that particular company, for instance Coca-Cola, is violating certain basic human health norms, you are able to in fact divert consumers from them, or you are able to divert attention of the public from from the local petty issue to a global issue. That makes the success of new unionism a great issue one, because you are able to target the state, you are able to target the industry, you are able to target those who are powerful, the very rich, and it is the middle class, it is the intellectuals, it is the NGOs and others, those who are coming forward globally to put that platform. So we are very hopeful for a new kind of beginning globally, and we think that the new beginning would in fact usher in a world where the human rights of everyone and the rights of the marginalized will be protected. Thank you very much.